Hi everyone, so this is the second part of the video where we are working on the animation of our card component. So where did we stop here? So we have our flat list with the cards. When we click on the card, we are able to display the end result of the animation, but obviously we want to make it nicer than that. So let's continue. First we're going to do some cleanup. I realize that I made a small mistake, so if I'm putting some border to the container of the image itself, as you can see, the image is not taking the entire space. So basically what I need to do is to remove height from the image itself and put it to the container. So we are back. We are at the right size for the image now. Another thing, so this we don't need brackets actually, so I'm going to remove them. Same for the picture here. And for the background till here we don't need it anymore because we have a picture covering it. So I think that's it. So the animation will have two main pieces, let's say. So one will be to animate the image, to go to the top on the screen, taking the entire width, as well as 1/3 of the screen, of the height of the screen. Then we will have the content that will spring from bottom to top to display the details of the card's additional content. So first, let's focus on the card itself. To do so we are going to start. So we are on the open card here. So basically, we will need two animations, one for the position of the card. It will be value XY. One for the size of the card. It will be an animated value XY as well. So I believe that we can start with that and adding a general animation that will be, I need to add the new keyword here. That will be the normal animated value starting at 0. This variable here will be used to animate the corners of the card to go from rounded to straight when we open the card, like so. Then, if I look at here, we have an overlay with the title of the location we opened, as well as the buttons that enabled to close the card when we are done looking at the card. And for that, I want to use an opacity animation. Like so. It will start at 0 as well. And while we are here, we will have another animation called slide animation. That will go from 1 to 0. So let's start with the card. Here we are going to grab the reference to all animation values, position, the side animation, opacity animation, slide animation, like so from the state. Then to start with, we need to set, so when we open the card here, the card directly starts at the top of the screen, taking the entire space for the width and 1/3 of the screen for the height. The idea is that the animation should start by replacing the image of the card that we have clicked on, So to do so, we will use the position and size animation here, and we will need first to grab the exact position and dimensions of the initial image in order to apply it to this image here, to start to the image of the card when it's open. So to do so, we are going to use the images object with the active index here. So this way we know that once we clicked on the image, this is the line of code enables us to identify which card has been clicked and to measure its dimension. Just to recall how it's working, so basically when we render the flat list, we assign a reference of the image into the images underscore images variable based on its index. When we click on the card, we pass the same index that we can find here, and this is the way that we are able to retrieve the image, the reference to the image component that has of the card that has been clicked on. So we need to measure this component. So this function takes 6 attributes, parameters. So we have x, y that are being used, width, height, page x, and page y. So for the position, we will use page x and page y. For the size, width and height, like so. Here we go. So now I can set the value of my position. So remember, when we set it here, there is no value, x and y are empty. So we are going to set the value to set the starting state, the beginning state of the animation. So the position, as I mentioned, we will take page x and page y. For the size, we'll take the width and the height. Now, very important, one thing is that once we animate the image from here to here, we need a way to remember what was the initial position and size of the card. So when we close the card itself, the image is going back nicely to the right position. To do so, we use the active image that we get from the state, and we need to save it here before to go ahead with the animation. So x will be page x, y will be page y, and we get the width and height in there as well, like so. This way, so we need to change the state only once we have all this value, and this way we are able to commit the active image that we save here to the state and save the position and dimensions and the size of the image for that will be used in the close card function below. So by doing so, I believe that we can at least start to create the style here. So from the state in the render function, we're going to grab position, size, opacity, animation, slide animation, animation, default animation. So let's create animated image components, style, sorry. Where the top will be the position dot y, the left will be the position dot x, the width will be the size dot x, and height will be the size dot y. Let's apply this style to the container of our image here. Like so. Now, if everything goes well, I should be able to refresh. So I need to refresh everything here. to have a new animated values from the state being set up properly. So now when I click here, as you can see, the image is replacing the initial image. So same position, same size. Obviously, we still have some work to do. First, I think that you will notice the small flickering that we see is because we are loading the second image from this container here, from the absolute screen. We are loading it, we are showing it, even before it's being loaded. Therefore, the opacity of the initial image that we are toggling with these properties here is going to 0 before the second image has the time to be loaded. To fix that, what I'm going to do is on the second image, add the property on load end. And once the image is loaded, and we show it is properly loaded, because even if we use a cached image, you still have this small delay that shows the image flickering. So for this, we are going to create a new state value. So this would set state image loaded to true. So only once the image is loaded, we inform our state that the image has been loaded, like so. So of course the initial state will be false for this value. And I need to make sure that when we close the cab, that I set it back to false. Then I can grab this value in the render function like so from the state. And going here, I want the initial image opacity to be set to 0 only if the index of the image is equal to the active index, if I have an active image, and that the image is loaded. This way, if I reset it properly, you can see that the flickering disappeared. It's really smooth. And actually, this little flickering doesn't take a long time. So with a catch image, it really doesn't make a long time to be loaded. It's just that you have this small slate. So this is the hack I found to fix this issue. If you have other ideas, please let me know. But this is the way I'm doing it. Now, regarding, I don't want to have the overlay and the name of a location with a button being displayed straight away. I want to be displayed only when the image has finished to animate, and only I will use the opacity animation to make it happen. So for this, I'm going to create my opacity style here. So overlay, animated overlay, let's call it like that. And basically, it will be just following the animation by default. That would go from 0 to 1 once it's animated. Now, yes, what I was thinking is that I could put the button into the whole container of the overlay component here and apply the animated value, the animated style I just created here, like so. So now when I click on it, well, I can't close anymore, obviously, because it's not displayed yet. But since the animated value is still at 0, I can't see it at all. It's only when I will decide to animate the animation that it will be displayed properly. So this is done. The last step to be done before to start writing the animated code is the rounded corners here. So this will be, basically, I'm not going to use the animation for the opacity. I'm going to use the opacity animation. Sorry about that. Why I'm not using the animation by default is that you will understand better later on the video, but the idea is that the animation will happen at the same time, and I will use it for the borders. So I need to animate the borders to be from rounded to square, and it will be used at the same time than the image size and position animation, while the opacity animation will only start once the image has been finished to animate. So this is the reason why I need two animations here. And the slide animation won't be, I will be using a spring animation instead of a timing one to give it a nice effect. So again, I need another animated value here. So let's make the animated border style here. That will be an interpolation of the animation. So basically what I need to do is to take the animation, but interpolate with an input range from 0 to 1, and I put output range from 10 to 0. The 10 value I get it from ZStyle. As I'm applying a rounded LG utility here, going to ZStyle, the rounded LG using 10 points. So this is where I get my 10 that I apply here. Okay, so my animation is set at 0. Therefore, my interpolation will set the value of the animated value at 10. I'm going to use the animated image property here to apply to the border radius, like so. So this way I don't need to change. One thing I think is not going to show properly yet. Yeah. So the thing is, as the image is still, the image is overlaying on its container, so basically I need to add style here, the style property of overflow hidden. So this way, now we have our rounded images. So if I refresh, I click again. So we don't see anything, which is the objective, but behind, I can assure you that the new image has replaced the initial image. So now we can start to write some animation on this image. So let's get to it. Going back to the open card animation. So only once we have committed to the state, the location, the active index in its image, that we can start to animate. So we are going to use the callback function, the setState function, like so. So first, we are going to have okay, let's focus on the image first, and then after we can continue. So we are going to have a sequence. We are going to use the animated.sequence to have the animation of the image being executed first, then the animation of the overlay container to have a nice fade-in animation. And we will have, we're going to use animated.parallel as well to have the position, the size, and the borders to be animated all together. So let's start with the animated.sequence, like so. So it takes an array. We'll have our animated.parallel, that takes an array as well. And we will have our animated.timing. So let's make it here. That will be used for the opacity animation. To value of 1 for a duration of 250 milliseconds. Okay, so so then after we're going to use animating to timing as well for all of our animations. Doing the animation first, the default animation, so it will be to value of 1 as well for a duration of 250 milliseconds. Then we need to animate the position and size. Position.x. So for the position, when we open the cast, we need to go on 0 for the x-axis and 0 for the y-axis as well. So not complicated here. We always keep the same duration of 250 milliseconds. It will be the same for the size. Sorry, for the y-axis, the position. So just copy pasting to go a bit faster for the size here. So for the x value, we need to take the entire width of the screen. So I already have my variable registered here, like so. And for the y value of the size, so it needs to take 1/3 of the screen. So again, of the height of the screen, sorry. So again, I can just take the screen height variable here divided by 3. Once all of that has been done, I can call the start function on it. And I think that we should be able to see the whole thing animating properly if I did my job correctly. Here you go. So obviously when you close it, there is no animation. We still need to do it. But when you open it, you can see that the card is animating. I'm going to reset the state as well. So if I refresh again, so you can see that the opacity, the fade-in happens only when the images has been animated. So let's get to the card directly here. I'm just checking my code on the side to make sure that it's working properly. Yes, so I think I'm not missing anything. Should be fine. Right, so I'm just opening my second screen on the side. Sorry about that. Okay, so now working on the... Do I finish where do I go first? Yeah, let's finish the animation with the opening of the card here. So I still need to do the slide animation, or the spring animation to slide the content up. So basically here we can start, since the spring animation takes a bit more time than the timing one with 250 milliseconds. So I can use it directly here. Dot spring, so the slide animation to value of 0 this time. I don't need other arguments here. I just need to call the start function again to make it happen. Now I'm going to interpolate the translate y property of for the transform of the container. So const animated content for the style equal transform translate y. I need to interpolate first the animation. So const animated slide equal slide animation dot interpolate the input range, so going from 1 to 0, but we can't go backwards for the input rate, so it still needs to be 0 to 1, like so. And our output range, that will go from 0 to screen height, just to be sure, like so. So now I can apply this style, this interpolation to my style translate y here, and apply the style directly to my container, content container, like so. Refreshing it. Here you go, working perfectly. So now I need to work animation to close the card itself. So again, we need to take all this value from the state and more, because I will also need an active image. So remember, the active image from the state is where I store the initial position and size of the image. So I will be able to animate it to go back to the initial position. So to do so, first, when I click on it here, what I want to do is to make sure that this overlay container disappears directly. I don't want any animation to close it. Same for the content. I just want all of this to disappear directly, so we can have a nice animation with the image going back to the initial position. To do so, I'm just going to take the opacity animation directly here and set the value to 0 directly, no animation. And I'm going to do the same with the slide animation, like so. But here is going back, the initial state is 1. Okay. Then I'm going to take the same principle here. So it's just for up to the animation. So I'm just going to copy paste this to go faster. Basically, it's using the same code, except I need to delete the two values. And I will call the start function in there, and only when the animation is finished that I will reset the state, like so. Okay, so now what I want to do here, for the position, I want to go back to the active image. So actually, okay, so it's the same animation here, so it's the value here. So I want to go back to the X, so position X of the active image, and the Y position as well, and the width and its initial height, like so. And for the corners, the borders, the animated corners, I want to go back to 0, to its initial values. By doing so, I believe that we are done with the whole thing. So now I'm able to open the card properly, and as you can see, so you have the image animated, the overlay starting once the image has finished to animate, and altogether the spring of the content when you close the card, like so. The overlay is closed directly, as well as the content, and you only see the animation for the card going back to the initial position, like so. So I hope you enjoy these two videos, that you learned something, and if anything you would do differently, don't hesitate to give me some feedback. Thank you, and see you for another video.